Good evening and welcome to the May 1st meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business is need to elect a chairman pro tem for tonight's proceedings. So I guess I would.
I make a motion that Dennis Abbott be the person.
I'll second that.
Any further nominations?
Nomination ceased.
All those in favor? All right. So we do have a couple of members short tonight, Chairman Littlefield as well. So apologize for being a bit late with the start, but we did have a short executive session before the beginning of the meeting. Any announcements from the board or? All right. So we have, I believe, no appointments this evening. And you'll have to forgive me because I'm kind of trying to get up to speed on this agenda. Any hearing a delegation, anyone that would like to speak before the board this evening? Seeing none with, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Davis, sure. Sure, right here is right. I'll introduce Dr. John Davis, who is the superintendent of schools for RSU 57.
Good evening, thank you. I'll just make a brief comment that I'm here. If there's anything I can do to answer any questions for you about our upcoming budget or any other school issue, I'll be glad to do that. I'll let you initiate it instead of me giving a long speech and interrupting your meeting.
Okay, good enough. Thank you. And welcome.
Thank you.
Correspondence, as usual, they're listed on the agenda. We have Representative Libby's newsletter. And for those of you that don't know, Representative Libby was quoted in last week's edition of Bloomberg Business Week in one of the articles. Treasurer's weekly financial reports are also part of the communications package. There's a letter from the Sanford Regional Communications Center to Road Commissioner. And then there was a confidential letter to the chairman relative to personal issue. Any of those you can see other than the confidential part of that by contacting Christina from here at the town office. Reports. Any reports from the selectmen? John, vacation was good?
It was warm and relaxing.
Town administrator.
I'm still researching the Conley Point Road. I have one additional information to look at, and then I'll be forwarding it to the board. And if you remember, I don't know if Dennis was you on the board in 2008 when James Treance came in to see about purchasing the property next to his off of Railroad Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And the selectmen had sent him a letter back then asking for additional information, and he has come forth again, would like to proceed with it. So that will be probably within the next couple of weeks coming for the board. And Julie has started, and I have two working on the expected revenues and expenses for the year ending June 30th for a projection. And also until June 30th, only operational expenses can be spent right now. Purchases can be now. Emergency can, but the department heads have to show proof of why they need it, and only the town administrator now can approve purchase orders. Department heads no longer can do them. So that's what that is.
Town reports.
Did you get Gordon's report yet? So they're all ready to go?
I believe Carrie has everything now that she needs. I did send her the last couple of pictures. Oh, actually, Dave sent them to her last week. I think we're just waiting for the proof now.
Okay.
All right. So we'll move into new business. Meetings always go a little fast when there's only three of us here.
Do we see that there's going to take time in 1, 2, and 3? Should we move up, if it's going to take some time, move to vote, to move item 4, discussion supporting the RSU?
Would you like to make that in form of a
57.
motion, John?
Yes, I will. I guess the question was if it's only going to take 5 or 10 minutes to get there, then,
Well, there's
but
no reason
I'll move to move that up.
Seconded, then moved and seconded to move item 4 up to the start of new business. All those in favor? Opposed? So, discuss vote on supporting the RSU proposed school budget. I believe that you have that in your packet. Where would you like to start? Last week we had a pretty good overview of where we stand with Mary Ross, who's one of our board members, school board members, as well as Lisa Faith, and they were here for some time because I think it always becomes a topic of discussion this time of year of where's the school budget going. So I think we had a pretty good feel for. I think the overall budget is up 2.6, and I think it's okay, and it's I think Waterboro's portion was up 2.32 or something, but or somewhere in the neighborhood of $290,000 of that nature. So, so what do we have for questions?
Oh, if I cock my head here, my budget comes in on the sideways.
You can turn that.
You can turn your computer.
I guess I was reviewing the minutes. I wasn't here last week. I was reviewing the minutes, and there was a discussion of special education costs going up. Could you tell us a little bit about what the what's happening there?
Sure. And just so I know your protocol, how would you like me to, where would you like me? Is here fine, or would you like me to?
Why don't you either, probably if you sit at that table with a mic, I think David can pick you up. Because the last thing we want to do is ask a question and then have everybody that's viewing at home, you just hear mumbling in the background. So if you can...
I'd like to do something different.
well, I'm not suggesting you were mumbling, but sometimes the mics don't pick.
Special education costs. My name is John Davis, school superintendent. Glad to be here. Special education costs are always tricky to predict. We this year in particular, what I've been telling people is that in an effort to balance and even out Augusta's budget, they are doing some things that are impacting your budget, our budget directly, your budget more indirectly. And that is they're choosing to DHHS is now more apt to be sending students home from 24-hour residential care than they were once before. Although I can't give you particular cases because of confidentiality issues, an example is that we inherited a child who didn't grow up in this town, whose mother just happened to move here. And so he became the responsibility of the RSU. He was a 24-hour care student, and they sent this child home, saying that they were going to provide additional services and supports to the home. Well, and you would hope that they would be working towards that kind of strategy. But as it turns out, the student really can't be placed in a regular public school, whether it be ours or anyone else's, and requires special transportation because of the nature of this individual's disability. We were required to go out and buy a car just to transport this one child to a specialized school in Portland. And those are the kind of things that we confront on a regular basis. We will be inheriting a child next year that will probably cost in the neighborhood of $150,000 to $175,000 a year. And that child is just beginning their school years. So we'll have that child for the next 15 years, most likely. That will easily become a $2 to $3 million child if the child survives all all the years to school. So what's happened to special education costs, that is an example. And they don't change it 10%, but they change it several percentage points within a given year because that budget is pretty significant. Federal law is pretty exacting, and you will provide. You will find that this district is also in the middle of mediation with parents who believe that their child should go to a private school, and we will debate and deliberate that. In some cases, we will agree. Some cases, the court or the mediator will prevail, and we will not. And those are very expensive. Once you have a student that goes out of your district, you can expect to spend in the neighborhood of $50,000 or better on an annual basis, and that's generally for many, many years. Residential, we don't pay for. Once the state takes responsibility for a residential student, then that becomes the responsibility of DHHSS. And as you know, and as I tell people, as they try to moderate their budgets, this is one of the strategies. So whether it be here or the other district I'm responsible for, we are seeing our special ed cases go up and our cost increase simultaneously.
So the state is basically is taking residential students out of that placement for their budget concerns, and the students are moving back into the communities, and then now the community is responsible for the level of education that the child got at a residential facility, except it's expensive locally.
It's a cost-shifting strategy.
Yep.
I would certainly expect the state to take great exception to my characterizing it that way. They would say they're looking out for the best interest of the child, but it's happening a little bit more frequently this year than we have seen it in past years. I think it's also a strategy of them coming under great pressures financially and trying to even out their books as well.
Yep.
So
We've seen that a few times.
Augusta's strategy to moderate their budget issues will impact local, and I think you probably see that on a different level as well. Augusta probably won't say that they're not giving up certain things because of this or that, but you end up picking up the cost. So we and you do pick up additional costs during these difficult financial times.
Any other questions? One of the things that we kind of poked at Mary and Lisa last week on was, if you look back, and I know it wasn't on your watch, but back 5, 6, 7 years ago, when school budgets at RSU or SAD 57 at that time were, $1 million, our share anyway, $1 million less, so ultimately it was probably somewhere around $6 or $7 million, or more than that, probably less from the total budget. The question that always comes up is, what do we do today? In today's edicts from the state, if you will, or the Department of Education, what are we required to do today to teach our children that we didn't have to do 7 or 8 years ago?
I think, and it's come and gone since that 7 or 8 years ago. With Maine has put forth a standard of education and a level of education they expect each town to support, so that across the state, this was an effort to provide a level of adequacy, as I understand it, there will be an essential services that each community will be responsible for. The state tried to do that and provide a calculus for that and what that would cost in dollars. So when you ask what's different about what's being taught, it's about, I think, it's about a whole list of things, from teacher qualification to facilities. Special education has been with us maybe not to the same degree, but at one level or another since the 80s, and in this more robust tradition. It has gotten more expensive. Parents, as the years have been gone by, have now been seeking out and getting their children identified, where maybe you and I, with children 20 years ago, would have not seen that as something that we wanted to do. So we're finding a shift in that, so that level of expense has gone up. As I said, the level of qualification for teachers, we have to have teachers who are qualified within the domain in which they teach. Whereas when I was first teaching, I was the only high school teacher in a school. So I was teaching everything, and that was acceptable. Today, you can't get away with that. So that has increased the cost of staffing. The level of, along with special education, the level of staff support that many students now require, a one-to-one aide or an aide being in the classroom, has dramatically changed since I started teaching. The level of transportation, that we will not only transport all children, but will provide unique transportation to the child who needs it. So you'll find buses that are accommodating students with wheelchairs, for example. So we'll have those particular costs. This community has seen fit to try to operate almost an elementary school in each of the 6 towns, save one, Newfield and Lyman,
Limerick.
where they had consolidated. There's a unique cost when you operate a Shapley versus a Waterboro. That really is the opposing number of students, one less than 200, one well over 500. So I think those are the kinds of issues that may be unique from the time that you and I were in school. Administrative costs haven't changed dramatically, I don't believe, at the central office, but making sure that the high school, that 1,100, you're really operating that with 3 individuals at administrative level. That's pretty Spartan, but I bet you there wasn't a time that the school was operated with a couple of people, and when things were different. So I think those are the kind of issues that have confronted. But I think this particular budget, and I think the last few years, from what I understand from the history of people telling me, 2.6%, just a bit over than that, is really just taking care of some of the known costs of health insurance, oil, electricity, staff, negotiated salary increases. It doesn't include any new robust programs. We have just, our goal was to try to hang on to what we currently have after some significant cuts several years ago.
And how much less are we getting from the state in this budget than we were in the last budget? Is it flat?
An actual, no, it's decreased. You're now getting around 36, I don't know if I have it written here, I thought I might have, about 38% is your state share. And this year, actually the overall increase total was just over $200,000. So the state share did go up, but very minimally. But remember, that has gone down significantly over the last 5 years. Your share has continued to increase.
With all that being said, John, about the increase in cost and why it has increased, I feel there's money does make a difference, okay? But there's more issue here than money. And would you say that the kids are producing better as a result of that versus 5 or 10 years ago? I mean, I don't think money is the issue only.
Nope, and David, you and I would agree with that. And I've said that for many more years prior to my arriving here. Unless you have people doing effective work, no matter how much money you spend, you're not going to get effective results. And this was something I had to confront. I told you a little bit about my previous career in Alaska. And there I had students' expenditures of $14,000, $15,000 per child as opposed to $9,000 here. And your results are better on an overall level than the results I was getting there. The difference, the issue we were confronting there was whether school was a really important institution in that culture. We were beginning to change that, and I feel we were making some marked success. Here is the same issue. I think school does have an essential role, an essential mindset in our community, to the degree that it's as important to maybe this community as it might be to another one. That's debatable. But the issue that I want to confront with you and with staff, and mostly with staff, is that it's really important that we learn the business and the science of teaching and not just the art of teaching. You went to school when you had a really favorite teacher, someone who really knew how to connect with you. But you couldn't say that universally. I want your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, I don't know how old you are, but somewhere I'm going to catch you.
Keep going.
I want those children that are really important to you to say, you know, I have a lot of great teachers. And that's because a lot of great teachers really know how to teach. So we've embarked upon an effort, and that's why I came here, because your district was engaged in saying it's no longer acceptable for us to have kids sit in a classroom for the next 12 years. It's our only responsibility is to make sure when they leave here, they have a level of education we believe is both adequate and fulfilling to the mission that we're set out to do. And we're here for three principal reasons. And that's to make sure children are economically literate. In other words, they can walk out of school, and whether it walk into a job or walk into the military or walk into college, that they have a competency to do that. Secondly, they're culturally literate. In other words, they know when they see a stop sign, or they see a locked door, or they come across you on the sidewalk. They know how to conduct themselves as a neighbor. And number three, that politically they understand their role in this community. They understand the reasons and why we consider it important to serve, why it's important to be an informed electorate, and why that informed electorate is essential to our democracy. So that's why you put us here, is to accomplish those three things. And my goal is to make sure those three things occur. And that will only occur if they really are literate. And I don't just mean in reading, but that means reading and writing and understanding the economy that we're in, the society that we've built up and why we want to protect that, and the political structure that's engaged in. So those are three things that we got to accomplish. But you don't do that by allowing students just to matriculate through school. And so what we have said to our students and our staff is we're going to develop and design a system that says you have to demonstrate you know what you're talking about and what we expect you to know and be able to do. And that's what you'll hear me constantly say. What is it we want a student to know and be able to do before they leave our school system? How have they demonstrated they can do that? And what are we going to do if they don't know how to do that? That last one, that last item, is the most difficult and challenging issue that our staff are confronting. Because traditionally, after you finish the first grade, no matter how well you do, you move to the second, the third and fourth and fifth. Now, one of these children may know 100% of everything you ask them, and moving to second grade seems logical. Some of them may only know half of it. You still move them on. My contention is no. You don't leave here until you know the body of information we as a greater community say that you need to understand. If it takes 13 years, then that's fine. You stay here 13 years. If it takes 14 years, you stay 14 years. Staff can't figure out how to do that, and that's why I'm principally here, is to try to help them figure out that we need to figure out another organizational system than just saying you move on from one year to the next, and all that material gets left behind.
No, I think it's important, if I may follow up here, John.
Sure.
I like what you're saying, okay? How do we sell this to all the towns and the parents to buy in to the importance of education and the importance of responsibility? In other words, I feel kids today do not understand their role as students and don't take the responsibility or take advantage of what opportunity is before them. And there's a lot of dead wood in our population. I'm in education. I have been for 30 years. I see this everywhere, that we have to resell the role of education, not only to the kids, but to the parents. How do we do that as a community?
Well, I'm not quite the Pied Piper yet, but let me take a stab at that. I think that concept of some students doing well and some students not doing well, deadwood, as you refer to it, has really been there all along. However, what you and I, the society and the economy that we grew up in, there were places for those folks who really school did not connect with. There was a place for them to go, and there was a decent job out there. And we noticed a lot of those jobs are going away. The stratification between low-paying jobs, low education attainment, high-paying jobs, requirement of high attainment of education, are really starting to stretch. And I think we see that pretty importantly. What we need to do, though, is to try to begin to understand and help kids understand that there are expectations. And once I think they understand that there are true and absolute expectations, I've found kids have risen to the occasion. And I use this as my example. I asked the school board, which I last worked with in Alaska, not to allow students to go through graduation at all unless they've earned a diploma. They've always allowed, and the state legislature gave them the permission to let students put on a cap and gown and get an empty mortarboard. I said don't do that, because I believe if you allow students to go through this ceremony, get their picture taken, and walk with all the students, they won't come back and finish up their diploma. They agreed with me. And that first year, the governor's office called me, what are you doing not letting these kids do it? And I said, I'm doing exactly what I believe I'm supposed to be doing, making sure they don't leave here without a diploma and without having demonstrated. Once they knew we were serious, the kids came back for the 13th year. That first year was a little rough, I must admit. But after that, the second year, the third year, kids began to understand, no, you don't do the work, you don't get a grade, you don't get a diploma. And that's that, because we think it's that important. And until we stop saying it's okay for you to kind of just move on through with a D or a C, then I think kids will do just that. And as long as we insist that kids have to do exactly what I want to do on any given day, then we are going to find people who are not engaged. So I think part of what it is saying you are responsible, but with that responsibility is going to come a level of engagement that you're going to have to figure out. This is your responsibility to get it done. How are you going to do it? And offer some latitude. And that's where we found that we made the biggest level of success. Students that I was working with on average were scoring 30% on achievement tests. That's 3 out of 7. That's nothing to brag about. That was the norm in that part of the world. We got it up to 50%. No one had ever made that kind of change before with that demographic of population. And I think the same thing is true here. If you have something that you're generally interested in and you're empowered to fulfill that, and you have a coach out there more interested in making sure you achieve that than just doing what they want to do that particular day, you stand a better chance. I use the example of a basketball coach. He'll give a student a basketball and say, stand at that free throw line, and you know what? You just keep shooting. We give a student a pop quiz, and that 0 stays there. Why not ask that student, say, you didn't get it, take it again. Take it again. Take it again until you know it. It's knowing it that's important. Getting that score of a 0 is really just an indicator as you're moving towards proficiency. It's not a defining moment. You're not a failure because you got a 0. As I say, you're in progress.
Just before I get to the next question, when the diploma has worth and increased worth, then people are going to put more effort into getting it. And if once it was given out and you knew you were going to get it, then the worth went down and the effort went down with it, I think. But you've been in this profession for a while, and this trends. And the best way to predict the future is the past, as they say. But in education, it seems to be somewhat cyclical. And if you remember back in the 70s, if it felt good and it looked good, then it probably was good. And therefore, it had the open concept schools, the schools without walls, and then realized, man, that was somewhat chaotic, especially if you put a teacher in there that was kind of loosey-goosey and didn't know where all his or her kids were, then you found them under desks and kind of getting away from it all. Then slowly it's kind of moved into into 2000, where high accountability testing, and I get a feeling now that has reached its peak, and the whole testing piece has started to subside a bit, and moving into accountability, but not necessarily in the testing area. Can you look out 10 years and tell us what you think, where you think we're going?
Yes, two things I think are going to absolutely occur. One is that we're going to insist students know and be able to do X, Y, and Z before they leave school. That level of accountability is not going to change. The difference between accountability as we move forward and accountability now wants to rank and rate you and punish you. If you're not there, then you're not doing your job. Accountability ought to be, okay, so what do I need to do next? And I say to people, think of going into the hospital or doctor's office and checking your cholesterol. The doctor doesn't put a star on your head for having good cholesterol. The doctor says, that's a piece of information I need to know, because if it's up, it's down, it's in between, that information tells me what I'm going to do next. So that's what I mean by accountability has consequences, because it will tell us what we need to do next. The next thing I think is going to happen is education is going to become much different in the sense that that school that you look at the high school, or any one of our schools, but principally the high school, is going to be a place where students are coming and going at many hours of the day, and not during the traditional hours that you currently see now, 7 to 2, 7 to 3, those type things. That people are going to be coming and going, that adult education is going to be much more blended, and that university education is going to be much more blended. So when Governor LePage talks about 5-year, he's on something, I think. I don't think he's quite gotten it articulated in the way that I would, but he and I think, and I'm not a really strong supporter of him, but I think he understands the fact that there needs to be a movement between high school students and life, as opposed to this distinction between 12th grade and then life. I think we need to start blending it before that. The second thing I think in that is you're going to find that students are going to be using technology, and the iPads we're using much more than the computers at this point. But either one, the fact is students are going to go out and they're going to grab courses they want when they want it. It's going to be much more on demand, 24/7, as we go through. The iPad, for example, we can buy a district license for $4,000 now. It would contain our library plus. And a student could walk home and have that library in their hands 24 hours a day. That's just one of the things they can do, let alone all the courses they can take online for free. If you haven't visited Khan Academy, Khan, I encourage you to go visit that. And his mission is a world-class education for every child in the world. That's his mission. That's a pretty audacious mission. Well, my mission is simply to make sure every student leaves this institution with the skills that I talk about: economic, social, and political. Because I think those three things are key in order for us to move our country forward. And the problem
nice
is
bit
getting
of
me talking.
philosophy, right?
Dennis is going to cut me off eventually. So.
No, it's those two I'm worried about, not you.
Well, we can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And spend money, and money is not the main thing as far as I'm concerned in education. It's getting the right mindset.
Well, I think that's, that kind of drove some of the questions we had of Mary and Lisa last week is, we all know that if you look at, if we were doing the same things today that we did 5 or 8 years ago, and all we had to worry about was an increase in population, right? There would be a kind of a linear cost to that, right, increase. But it's like vertical when you compare to that, right? So, and I think if you start looking at it, and I know in the numbers that were provided, that we really look at about a 7, if you look over 5 or 6 or 7 years, the total budget of RSU 57, as it's now called, right, has not, it's gone up by a couple, $3 million. The local share has gone up by $7.5 million. So I think that the message, there is, in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when RSU's budget went down and we went up by a lot, was the $1 million cut that we took out from the state share. So I'm not sure that we had local representative here last week, so he entered the fray in the discussion, but it's all the people's money, right? It's just a matter of, are they state tax levels, is it local tax level, or, you know, that's paying the bill? And, because we all, being very parochial, we would rather come from the state and not the tax base, but the fact of the matter is, it's all coming out of the same pockets. There's no magic pot, you know, pot of money that's being generated just for education or any other piece of municipal government. But,
It's property tax or income tax. It's income, you know.
well, you know, there's the swizzle this year. Now we're going to do, you know, we're going to reduce the income tax level for every Mainer. And, oh, by the way, that money is not going to now go to the municipality, so your income tax will go down, but your property tax will
Property
probably
tax
go
is
up.
right, yeah.
So. But you know, and again, I know Gordon has gone to a number of meetings that you've had and hosted with the 6 towns. Everything is in, you know, the proposal. I think the interesting thing is, if you look at, as you go through this thing, we become, we own 41% of the students, but we're only 28% of the total valuation of the district. And of course, that formula is some magic formula that somebody invented years and years ago that does this. But you know, so we're picking up a big chunk. And I think it's I believe this is right. It's 2.45% increase to Waterboro. Over the-
That's darn close. I was looking at it earlier.
So we go from 6.9 million now to 7.08, I believe, in this year's budget. Because you're going, what, 2.97 total, right?
2.69 total.
Okay.
It's come down since you.
All right, so these might be a
I
bit
thought
dated.
somebody said our share was gonna be 2.3, 2.3.
Yeah, that's what I thought Mary said the other night, 2.3, but this, and I don't know, I don't see a date on this thing that got.
Yeah, Waterboro is 2.245%, sorry.
Yep. So that'll put us at $7,085,000,
85.
and the next closest would be Shapley at what, 3.8? Oh no, is that Lyman? Lyman is at 3.8.
Lyman would be, I think Lyman took.
In
the
total
biggest increase.
dollars, 3.8. They've got a 5.5% increase, but they're
They went
growing
down
it,
last year,
right?
last total, so
Right.
we'll have to do a state.
That was kind of a weird thing. Everybody else was up and they were down. Evidently, it's coming back to roost this year for them. So I think on this, the real crux here on the agenda, and you have to forgive me because Gordon put the agenda together with Christine, but is that there's a vote request for at least the board to support or not support the budget as presented. And like I said, I know Gordon has been attending those meetings pretty much on a regular basis, and he's been feeding that information back to us, bits and pieces, but.
The request comes from the six consortium selectmen. They're the ones who've asked that this be put on your agenda.
Yep.
I personally would support it.
So is that in form of a motion,
Uh,
John?
I don't know if you just do a straw vote and you come out of that, or if
Yeah, I'm not
if
sure
the-
what Gordon.
Okay, if you want a motion, I will move that we accept the budget as presented.
Second, Dave? And I'm not sure, I know that, you know, we're on the runway is getting short, but, and maybe it's best that, you know, we run this when all 5 of us are here, but,
Well, I find it interesting that God's not here. I will second the motion for discussion, I guess you'd say.
So is there any discussion? It's been moved and seconded to at least, I think, support the RSU 57 proposed school budget.
I'd just like to say, I appreciate you coming in. I can't remember the last time a superintendent came in, not since I've been on the board for 2 or 3 years, and it's very important. And I am somewhat optimistic that there is change afoot here. In the thinking of the superintendency and the school district, and I would like to see some brainstorming and sharing with the various towns and citizens on where the school system is going, and some accountability, and because, again, I'll say, money is not the answer. It's a mindset, and this is what we need to change.
I would say that my support kind of comes, and I look at our own budget here, the municipal budget, and say that you can keep some things pretty much in line. However, you also have facilities that need to be kept up. You need a fleet of buses. You pay for it one way or the other. You either turn those around every 10 years, or if you don't, then you pay for it in breakdowns, and the same thing with your buildings, and for 2.5 or 2.3, 2.4%, in the way the district has kept its costs down over the past 4 or 5 years, 4 years, I think, 3 or 4. That after a while you don't put those roofs on, you don't do some of the things that you need to do to keep it up, and you'll pay for it big time later. So I think the 2+% compared to what has gone on over the past 3 or 4 years would be one thing. If we were up, we were paying 5% increases over the past couple of years, but we haven't. I think the school budget has been down pretty reasonably, and so therefore I would support it at this level.
I think you kind of, from my perspective, and that's why I kind of go back to the numbers, if you look at where we were in the 06-07 timeframe at a $34.4 million budget, and we're now at $35.9. That's $1.5 million over 6 years. The problem is that the local share was 13.8 million then, and now it's 20.4. So the real cost to the municipalities, and I mean, if you look back a couple of years, they actually, in 10 and 11 was the big hit that we took from the state. There was a reduction in the total cost of operations at RSU 57, and I mean, there's not a lot we can do about the ratios and the formulas and everything else. They are what they are, and I'm as conservative as anybody else in saying, it just can't go up anymore. But there comes a point where you say, all right, it was a little less than 2% last year. We're talking about 2.5 plus this year. I'm not sure that, given the circumstances, that there's much that anybody can do other than to say that we're going to do something different, okay? And that's what it gets back to, I keep trying to poke at is, what are we doing today that we could have, if we said no, we're not going to do that, could have prevented. But there's a big steamroller, and it starts in Washington and via Augusta and then back down to us. So, and then I look at our generation and we say, well, there's a lot of successful people in our generation, and we learned in the school that had the one high school, or the one 8th grade teacher, or whatever the case was, junior high teacher, and those kind of things. So I'm not sure that it's an easy solution, and I certainly wouldn't want to be in your shoes versus ours, but that's another story, so. Anything else? So I guess we have a motion to, I guess, support this. All those in favor? Opposed? And we thank you for your time. And you're more than welcome anytime. Doesn't have to be budget season.
And I hope if there is, you will ask if there's something particular, and I'm not here to volunteer, you'll summons me.
Okay. Good enough. Thank you.
You got that, Christina?
All right. Let's see if we can jump back here to, this is gonna go fairly quickly now. Discuss vote on committee appointments, assessing, board of review.
I make a motion, we accept Lisa Gray for the Assessing Board of Review.
I will second that.
Any discussion?
Was it Lisa?
No, Diane.
Diane, sorry.
Other than, let me just correct one thing, that is Diane Gray.
Okay.
To be appointed to the Assessing Board of Review. All those in favor? Opposed? Discuss vote amend bylaws of the Board of Selectmen. I would defer that we do that at a later date. Tammy Jo was really the person that brought up some of the changes. So I would prefer that at least the 5 of us are here. I think everybody now has the bylaws in their packet. Review it, and Christina, let's put it on next week's agenda. Discuss vote to approve quitclaim deed. Item 3. And this, I would presume, the taxes have been paid. So, what's the pleasure?
So this is just a formality, right?
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Been moved and seconded to approve or sign the quitclaim deed. All those in favor? Opposed? Moving right along. Discuss vote on results of the Water District Survey. I would presume there was some communications back and forth and some discussion last week of what do we do with this. I think somebody raised the number of it's about $100 in postage or something to let everybody that over there know that these are the results.
Hmm.
And I think that's cheap money but not a lot of money to tell people that, hey, you asked, we did the survey, some of you participated, some of you didn't, these are the results. Right?
Yeah, I think people ought to, across town ought to know, because there's been an issue for a number of years now, and not necessarily put to bed completely. However, I think the survey pretty much, the water district sees that it's not a viable move to go down the old Alfred Road right at this point with the numbers of people that can support it.
Okay. Do we need that in a motion? I guess we probably should. It's an expenditure.
Do you need to have a motion to accept it?
Yes.
My question is just what information do you want me to convey in the letter that it was the water district's?
Well, I thought that, maybe Steve could at least put together of, hey, here's, a synopsis of the results. I mean, I think he would be more than willing to do that,
Okay.
and then mail that out.
Yep.
And I think he said, before he hobbled out of here last week, I think he said that he would do that. So I guess it's just a matter of approving the expenditure for $105 or whatever the number was, right?
So moved.
Been moved.
Second?
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Discuss vote to appoint election clerks. I would presume this list is provided by the town clerk,
That's correct.
so these are all her candidates to appoint. What's your pleasure?
I'll move that we, is this appointing, these?
Ballot clerk appointments, yes.
Yeah, I will move that we appoint the clerks that are, I mean, the ballot clerks that are presented to us.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Discuss road commissioner's request for the workshop to discuss Strong Mill Brook Road. You want a workshop? I guess what we probably need to know is, what is it that we're gonna discuss at that, just Strong Mill Brook Road is? I'm sure that there's a lot of issues that we could discuss around Strong Mill Brook Road, but what specifically are you trying to address? Ownership?
We're gonna continue to work on it, put money in it. By whose authority?
Okay,
You do realize there is an issue.
well, I guess as many years as I've been around here, this is the first that I've heard that there's an issue. Of Strong Mill Brook Road?
I believe that issue was taken care of when the water district.
But they never put the pipe up there, so I don't know that they
Well,
ever,
that's true too.
I don't know that it was ever resolved.
Then that had to been when they were dabbling around up there, not? Because I'm not aware that there was an issue. But you think they resolved it?
I thought they did, but I'd have to look back to.
I would like to discuss Deering Ridge Road at the same time.
So if we put a workshop together to discuss roads, right? Can you give us the list of roads that you want? I think we still have an open issue with Conley Point, which you mentioned earlier. Then let's put those together and I'd like to know before coming in here, what are the issues that we're gonna discuss with those roads? And is it something that we need to take care of?
Priority
Right, I mean.
and cost.
You know, presumably, we put this year's budget together. These are, some of them probably intertwined with that budget, some of them don't, but, so we ought to,
We just, you know, there is some issue there that I'd like to see resolved before we move forward and start planning either to do some maintenance this year or to do some reconstructive work another year. And for the time period that it might take to straighten out this issue, you know, we need to get to work on it. We need to find out where we are and, you know, if we have any rights.
so, if we have some issues relative to ownership of Rumble Brick Road, which I think,
Yeah, I was just trying to remember if it was, when first started, when Carol White. I thought it was taken care of.
But I thought that
I
the
think it
issue was
back
taken
into
care
the
of.
80s.
I thought the issue could have been taken care of with the water district, but that did not give the town any rights.
Yeah, I don't know if it was when it was still the towns.
No, the issue came up less than 3 years ago, I believe, 4 years ago. When did they put the new pump station in, the new well, and they decided to go out the pole line and hook on, the issue blossomed again then. And we have the same issue on the Deering Ridge Road, and I've offered numerous times to deed over the land so that the Deering Ridge Road would be on town property rather than on my property. And every time the Board of Selectmen refuses to pay to have the deeds made out or don't act on it or whatever, but Deering Ridge Road I own.
Well, the debate would be, there wasn't a Deering's Ridge Road where you're defining it 20 years ago or 30 years ago, was, or not, more than that, probably 50 years ago. It was Cropper Road or something of that nature, right? But you're talking about the very end of it, or the end this, up here towards Townhouse Road?
I'm talking from Townhouse Road until you get to the bottom of Cotton Hill.
Cotton Road is what they used to call it.
And, you know, some of the people that live in there have got building permits and set their house on back from what they say is the road, but when I did all the title work and had that all surveyed, they found out that the road is the full width of itself out of the right of way.
All right, so listen, I got back on this board in 2007, and this is the first that I've heard of this, okay? And I guess if I really scratch my memory banks, I might be able to recall something about Straw Mill Brook Road, but I'm not sure that I can really recall what that is. So let's put the issues together. I mean, if we need a couple of weeks to do some research, fine, but let's set aside an hour to do a workshop and say that let's attack one at a time and come out of, well, we can't vote at a workshop, but at least come out of the workshop with some direction of what's the next step.
Now, is this workshop going to be in-house here or on site, or both? I mean, how,
Whatever you want, you know. I mean, the question is that one man claims he owns Straw Mill Brook Road, okay? It's been no secret. I'm surprised that you don't remember it. And let me
Is this
see,
Jim's claim?
sometime about when I bought, well, see, I bought that piece off of, what's his name there, quite a few years ago now, and I had Sebago come in and survey the whole thing, and they discovered that the road was not where it was supposed to be. Now, you can say that there's prescriptive easement, the road's been there for a long time. I said, I've had it surveyed, we have property monuments to go by for the cost of the deed, and you've given deeds to people. I just thought it would clear up something for the future so that there wouldn't be any problem there later on. At some point, I plan to, you know, take some further action with that property, and, you know, I don't want this to come up later on in title searches and stuff like that, so.
So the issue with this now being the third road that we've discussed in a week really becomes the town's ownership of, right, we got Conley Point Road, Straw Mill Brook, and this, the northwesterly section of Daring Ridge Road, right, formerly Cotton Road.
And I may have one or two more. I got a couple around the lake that people are complaining about town drainage on, that I just want to make you aware
So
of.
can you get a list of everything that, to Nancy, so that at least if she needs, or Christine, or somebody has to do some research, that we don't come into a workshop saying, well, what is it we're gonna do? I mean, we'll have as much information as possible.
I think, you know, what David mentioned, you know, was it there or here? I think the public hearing ought to be here. It's more accessible to the public. But on the other hand, it'd be good maybe to do before that at some time to do a site visit.
I don't think we're anywhere near ready for a public hearing. I think we ought to just decide if you want to.
Oh, workshop, excuse me.
If you want to consult these issues, or whether you don't want to consult them, that's all.
Yeah, I meant the workshop, but you want the workshop available. Well, it's mostly for us, isn't it?
Let's
But
define a date.
I'd like to visit there beforehand.
Now that we've got a new month,
Yeah, I don't think.
today's the 1st. It's 5 weeks this month, 5 Tuesday this month. We ought to be able to set aside a meeting, the majority of a meeting, to go into a workshop to discuss whatever issues we got to The real question is do you want to wait till the end of the month, or do you want to do that mid-month, or say the fourth Tuesday of this month is the 22nd? That works for everybody?
Yeah.
We just carve out second half of the meeting that limit what else we got on the agenda, and just say we've got a 1 hour or whatever, an hour and a half, or whatever, an hour and 15-minute workshop. But it would be nice to have whatever documentation that we know we have going into those. That work for you?
Anything works for me.
Anything else you need tonight, or?
Yes? You want me now? No, you
Yeah,
don't.
well, I really wanted you about 45 minutes ago, but that's okay.
As you know, they had a public hearing here about the, I'll give you 2 copies for the other 2 selectmen that aren't here. About the end of the old Alfred Road. I received this paper today. They want a response if we're interested. We made recommendations at that time that the plan they come up with was unworkable. The fire department was opposed to it. I was opposed to it. And some citizens were opposed to it. These are the other 2. So, if you have, this is strictly informational. I wanted to get it to you so you could look at it. They want a response. I think everything that came out of that meeting that night told them that if they were going to put an island up in the middle of that, they had to move the hydrant on the northeasterly side and widen the northeasterly side of the road so that vehicles coming off, making a left-hand turn, going northeasterly on 202 would have room enough to swing. And after they hired a consultant, they've done it all. I mean, I could have told them I drove around that corner a lot of times with a tractor trailer, and it's very difficult to make it. Myself, I think we have bigger fish to fry on that road. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I meet with the person from DOT. I hope it's not fruitless. So far, I've felt that it's been fruitless. I'm not sure that this will be any better, but that's that. Okay, you can look at this. If you have any interest, discuss it with me.
Well, I mean, just quickly going through their summation here, is that the project that they proposed, they're not gonna
It's dead.
go forward with.
They didn't have any money. That's what he told us. The night he was here, he said, we're looking for a cheap fix. Well, that's what we're doing on the West Road, it's a cheap fix. I mean, they're looking to cheap fix everything, and that is an issue that they're gonna make it worse instead of better if they don't do it correctly. And our budget, I brought this up to you because if you wanna, try to do something, there's gotta be some money from somewhere. We have no ideas. It looks to me like it would be in the next year's budget, but I just thought that I received this today, and I thought that I ought to get it to you as a board tonight, so you could either take action or no action, or pocket it, or do whatever you want with it.
Well, I would think that the end of that road would be a part of the agreement of us accepting it. And I
Yes.
doubt if they do anything with the rest of it, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, that's my feelings, David. They want us to take the road back. They don't want to do any work on it. They've already told us they didn't have any money to do it. So, I mean, you 5 individuals are gonna have some kind of a decision to make here, whether you accept that road back or don't accept it back. And to me, this is just another negative to accepting it. They know that that's the, what did he say, the 2nd or 3rd highest accident rate in York County, and yet they're not gonna fix it. And they want us to take the road back and not have it fixed, and then they want us to put money to pay to have the repairs done on it. It doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't seem like we should have to take a road back they know needs to be fixed, in a lot of areas and refused to put the money into it.
But we've already missed the deadline.
No, if you read the
They've
letter,
extended it.
they extended it because, I mean, he sent it to us on the 30th. The letter's dated the 30th, Dennis.
Yeah.
And the thing was done the 30th, so he's put in here May 30th, somewhere as I saw.
May 25th.
May 25th.
All right. Yeah.
So that's why I got up here today, because you have 24 days to decide whether you want to send the paperwork in or whatever. So that's that. The second thing I brought to you was just informative. I wanted to let you know where the money was going to be spent on paving. I think I've discussed most of these with you in the past, but I wanted to make sure that you, that everybody was knowledgeable about what we was gonna do. We've done some everywhere, every one of these roads that I've got down here, the portion that we've, working on will give us many years of additional life. And, so I think that, and if you know, if you see that there is a note at the bottom, I would like to have some, I'd like to have you think about this and give me some direction. I think we could get a little bit of a special price on that. And if we should end up with an amount of money sufficient to do that, I know it's not really a road, but you ask us to maintain it, sweep it, patch it, plow it, sand it, do everything, and it is just in terrible shape. I took the sweeper guy over there, he said, I can't sweep it. There is probably at least 15% of the pavement is gone now. So and I know that there's no money in the budget to do it, but I wanted to know if and this would be something you would have to authorize, because I wouldn't do it without your authorizing it, because it's not a road, but still you ask us to maintain it as a road department, as a highway department, so.
How much to pave it?
I don't know.
Can you get that for us, and we'll throw that on the next week's agenda?
What you see here is a list, okay? The first five finance, and I've left a cushion, because when you go to shim and overlay, it's done by the ton. They give us an estimated cost of what it's gonna cost. It can vary. So if we do these, and they come out for the prices left, we'll have a little money left. We've done quite a lot of work on who's been on the West Shore Road, but there's 2 humps in there that need to be taken off to increase sight distance and make that safe. And then I'd like to take them off and do them. So if there's any money left, I think we could do the patches that need on them, because that's what they would be, is patches, it's not long stretches. And hopefully there would be money enough left to put a coat down there. So, you know, we could pick another road, but it keeps coming back to me that Dennis said, I don't want to see you do 50 feet here and 50 feet there and something else. So,
I might take credit for that, but I'm not the only one that's ever said that.
well, I understand that, but I mean, I just wanted you to know that all the lane, we're gonna do the whole thing. May Street, we're gonna do the thing. New Dam, it's gonna be ground, as I told you before, from Old Portland, where it was paved years ago, to the end. Derigo is gonna be from the end of Route West Road to Windy, which is the worst part of it. And so we're doing long stretches wherever doing them. 2 of them will be complete streets. And if, you know, the budget goes through anyway, like we've proposed, and we do the other end of New Dam Road, then we'll only have the middle that will need a shim and overlay, and that'll take care of the entire length of New Dam Road. I figure in 13, 14, 14, 15, what are we, 12, 13, 13, 14? We could have that done. All right?
Okay. Thanks, Doug.
Hey Doug, you don't have to pave my road, but can I have my street sign back?
Yeah, what's in M.R.S.A. Street?
Killock Drive?
Yeah, I noticed that was missing.
Yeah, somebody stole it.
We've had a,
Some kid's bedroom window, bedroom wall.
No doubt.
we've had I don't know when that one disappeared, but Tommy is developing a list. We have a rash of signs that have disappeared in the last month or 6 weeks. I don't know what it is. It weren't because they stood on snowbanks, you know, they have disappeared.
What do they call them, scavenger hunts?
We did have another issue up on Derigo. I had Mr. Sandman go up and look at it, and Nancy can inform you. I don't want to get into personals here, but Nancy can inform you about what it's about. I told her, but it got to be unpleasant, so I recruited Sean. That's, I thought, well, we're, you know, employing him for, and he's taking care of it. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Good, please.
Yes. I'm gonna have those streets, if there's no objections, those are the streets we're gonna do. I just wanted to make sure that,
You got 8 weeks left.
what's that?
You got 8 weeks left.
They're gonna start within 2 weeks.
Hmm.
I wanna get everything done so that when we go into the town meeting, we can tell people what we've done, and, you know, we should be pretty well done. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Old business, on the agenda, there is absolutely nothing under it. Other warrants and bills for payroll? Someone would like to move to approve that?
So,
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? The minutes of 417, John, you were here, so
Yes,
the
I was
three
here.
of us were here.
I'll
So
move to accept it.
second.
moved and seconded to accept the minutes of 417. All those in favor? Opposed? And I'm afraid the minutes of 424 will have to be deferred to next week. Pending decisions, certainly there for your review, public service announcements, review of the driveway opening permit language, committee and board status, water district office space lease, and the internet electronic mail policy revisions. Week's action list, Christina, you're gonna tickle, not literally, but Steve Levy, see if he would author or sketch, he'd come up with a letter. We're gonna bring back bylaws. What else do we say we're gonna put on next week's agenda?
One of the issues too, I think, is budget plan for those departments that have concerns of.
Yeah, if we could kind of get a report out of
Overexpenditure.
where we are with the current budget, where we think we have some issues and where we think there's money to cover those. We talked about bringing the library paving back, if Doug can get us a price,
Is that what?
just so that
Yeah, I
we,
didn't give
just-
you the handout, so I
if-
really
yeah,
didn't
if-
know what you were talking.
I think we ought to at least put a number to it and understand what it is, and then we can have the discussion of whether or not it's something that we move forward with, because it's gonna, if 15-20% of it is no pavement on it now, that'll be 40 or 50% after another winter. And maybe we just peel it up and say it's all gravel, I'm not sure. Anything else you'd like to see on next week's agenda? Seeing as how we've got the free run here tonight.
Has anyone switched over their electric service to, I can't remember what it's called, but
Electricity main, or
Yeah.
whatever, yes.
I mean, I don't know much about it. Is that something that we need to maybe publicize in one of our meetings to the public?
I think, I know there's certainly the announcements on TV that run pretty regularly, but might be something to bring up. But it's interesting that since they've been driving that the standard offer on your electric bill has come down, so that now even if you go to this, and I can't remember whether it's Electricity Maine, whatever, it's 5% savings, still 5%, but that's after standard offer has come down. So if nothing more, the market has at least driven the standard offering down, right? And then you can get another 5%, I think. But we probably could look at that at least as an announcement to make sure people are aware of it.
Yeah, I looked into they didn't have, they told us capping it would not work for the town, because we get hours of glacial energy. The fixed, I went back 24 months, figured out for this building, what we had paid and what the cap would be, and with us, for this building, if we went with the fixed rate, we would be paying more compared to what we have been paying. Because sometimes we're down to like 5 cents.
Yeah.
And we could sign up, I think the cheapest one was like 6 months with 6 cents. So we've gone as high as 9 cents, almost 10 cents, but we've been saying it in the 5-6 cents range.
Any other items we want to throw on the agenda for next week? If not, I would presume that when Chairman Littlefield gets squared away, whatever he and you have for discussion on Friday, we'll fill out the agenda. Items needing signature, warrants and bills for payroll in the minutes of April 17th. Just the reminders, I guess the meetings tomorrow night for the 2020 and the planning board have both been canceled. 2020, and both moved to, or the next meeting will be May 16th for both.
Yeah.
Finance Committee, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. I believe they're meeting with David
Thursday
and
night.
Matt, right?
Thursday night.
Oh, Thursday night. Sorry, yeah. So it's Thursday, May 3rd, right? Monday, May 7th, Charter Commission, Charter Review Commission, 7 p.m. in the Old Town Hall. Next Tuesday night, here at 6 o'clock, we're back, and we have the librarian, Library Board of Trustees, and Friends of the Waterboro Public Library on board. Didn't they just,
I'm going to say,
just
they were
end?
here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, I think Bridget came in recently.
No, this was, I thought 2 or 3 weeks ago before. I know Bridget came in 2 weeks ago on the 17th.
I'll have
but
to check,
just
so I've
double
got
check.
it kind of all plotted out on
Yeah.
a quarterly schedule, so.
All right, Road Review Committee, Wednesday, May 9th, at the Old Town Hall. Thursday, May 10th, Senior Luncheon. Is that the first one of the year, do we know?
Yes.
They're just starting back up. So 11:30 a.m. at the Snowmobile Club, the Senior Luncheons will reconvene. Old Home Days Committee will meet at 6:30 Thursday, May 10th at the Old Town Hall. Finance Committee will again be meeting at 7 p.m. Thursday, May 10th at the Old Town Hall. Saturday, May 12th, Cribbage Tournament is at 8:30 a.m. at the Town Hall. And then May 16th, 2020 Master Planning Committee will be at the Central Station at 6 p.m. And the Planning Board meeting at 7 p.m. will be in this room. Any other planned meetings that I missed?
I assume that the selectmen are meeting on May 15th.
I would presume we are meeting on May 15th.
Do we need to discuss the issue of transfer station and recycling committee meetings? Where they're going to be held, or has that been resolved?
Well, I think we ought to, we probably ought to have that discussion. Maybe we can put that on the agenda for next week, which is the upstairs meeting room. I mean, I know that there was some concern by Tammy Jo, but in reality, it's a big meeting room. The secretary, the secretary of both of those committees has a computer and a desk and everything set up there. It just makes some sense, and it's not like one committee has a whole bunch of stuff they need stored anywhere, so.
I mean, the only issue that I see is that if someone wants to attend and there's a handicap access issue, then they need to move it.
Yeah, and they have the same issue with the road review committee.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to attend and there's a handicap issue, they have to move it downstairs. But let's put it on the agenda, we'll clear it up. Anything else? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Good night, everybody.